Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, this past Thursday, the 28th, I was invited as a guest on the Bronx Muchachos podcast. It's a great group of guys. Actually, I had them on my show a couple of months ago, and we kind of kicked around the idea of doing some stuff again in the future. So with the trade deadline looming and in the wake of the Yankees picking up Andrew Benintendi, they invited me onto their show, and we discussed a few things, such as some moves that the Yankees should make, just with, again, the trade deadline around the corner. Kind of looked back a little bit at that Subway Series, those two disappointing games at Citi Field. And of course, with the pickup of Andrew Benintendi, how the Yankees should utilize him. And once the season's done, would they consider extending him in pinstripes for the next coming years? So we kind of got into all that. It was live streamed on YouTube at the time, but if for whatever reason you have a chance to catch it, I have an audio version of that for you here right now, just coming up. So it's a little bit more than an hour. So let's say if you have a nice drive out to Jones Beach, or you're going somewhere up in Westchester and you just want a nice long drive and you need something to listen to on the road, this is perfect for you. So I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome, everyone, to the newest episode of the Bronx Muchachos podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and tonight we got with the family with us. We got Dave.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday, or whatever day it is you're listening to this.
We got Alex.
Well, someone's coming in hot today. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
And we got Danny.
What's good, everybody? Dave, you all right, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just fired up, ready to go, dude.
All right.
Fired up, ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think he already needs Xanax. The show just
Got a lot to
started.
say this week, bro. Just got a lot to say. Let it fly.
This is going to be a good one, guys.
All right. Hey, everyone, please remember to subscribe, rate, review, like on Apple Podcasts and anywhere you listen to your podcast platforms. 5-star reviews or any reviews that you can give us would be most appreciative to let us know how we're doing. Other than that, tonight we got with us friend of the pod, good friend of ours as well, Mr. James Zeiss from Section 420. James, thanks for coming on with us, brother.
Pleasure. And, it was a pleasure speaking with you guys, when we first met a couple months ago. And, but it's great to be back. And, it's just great to see what you guys are doing, the way you guys have grown and everything. And it's just, it's awesome to see that journey.
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So, James, let's get into it, man. We were talking, let's talk about this debacle of the past two games over with the Mets.
Yeah, man. I'm obviously, I think in both games combined, they were like 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position. So it's like, we were in both games. We didn't get blown out. And in the ninth inning of both games, there was even an opportunity for the Yankees, late in to do something. Especially, you look at the ninth inning of the first game, we got 2 runners on there, the gift, but unfortunately could do it against Diaz. Then the final game, we tied up, big 2-run home run, and then unfortunately they get a walk-off win. So it's like, they're annoying losses, but I think a lot of it had to do with just us being the away team. They obviously had the starting pitching edge a little bit. So the fact that we were kind of there at the end for both games, it's, something to speak worth of. But I just think, the Yankees right now haven't had a great July. They did about 500. So they're sputtering a little bit. We lose Michael King. So it's just, again, I don't say the Yankees are slumping a little bit, but they're in a bad spot. But with that in mind, it's almost like it seemed like at any moment they could have flipped the switch and it's like, put some runs up there, but they just didn't have it. And again, it just more had to do with the 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position, just, especially with Judge, of all people, struck out in a couple big spots there against Matt Scherzer. So it's like they were right there, just couldn't get over the hump. So it's just like, those that type of loss. Not brutal, but just like annoying.
Like one of those that kind of, they just gnaws at you, like that, like a dull pain that stays with you for a while.
Yeah, and like Montgomery, if you look at that first game, you might look at, oh my God, he gave up 4 runs in the first inning. He wasn't terrible. He would get ahead 0-2, but he just couldn't put hitters away a little bit. And it was just, an aggravating there. And again, again, Scherzer, we were going to have a shot anyway, especially with Herman. So the fact that, they were only down 2-0 before Gleyber hit the Torres hit the 2-run home run. You almost like, oh, wow, you're pretty impressed there. So you want to take any silver lining away from it? Or at least Herman now a little better the second time out. Maybe something you can just build off of because, again, Sevy's probably going to be out for still a chunk of August.
That's true. Danny, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I really don't think we should panic about these 2 games. I feel like a lot of Yankee fans, just because we lost to the Mets and it's the Mets, it's magnified. But like James, you made a lot of really good points there. I'm not concerned. Their starting pitching lined up and ours didn't. Get us back in the Bronx with Garrett Cole and Nestor, or if we get another big addition like a Luis Castillo, Yankees win that series. So I'm not concerned. And we were 0 for 15 runs. You're not winning any baseball games. It could have been the Pirates. If you go 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position, you're not going to win baseball games. So, and against Scherzer, we hit 5 balls in play, all over 100 miles per hour, and they were all outs.
We weren't going to do anything with Scherzer. Scherzer had us. Like, he was just on a whole new other level last night. Like, let's just be real.
But the thing is, the bats were good, with the exception of Judge. And it's kind of surprising. Scherzer.
I 100% agree. I'm not even denying anything you're saying because, like, I'm actually on your side, which usually doesn't happen too much. But I'm 100% like, I'm not freaking out about this whole Met series at all. Dave over there, man, that man needs some Xanax over that series, it looks like. But yeah, I'm not caring.
I even said this a few weeks ago, and you guys thought I was out of my mind when I said coming into July, the Mets were going to give us a headache. And what happened. The Mets gave us a headache.
Okay, Dave. We had Montgomery, and we had second start of the season, Domingo. You really, really expected, oh my gosh, we're going to get like the best thing. No, it wasn't Nestor. It wasn't Cole. It's not like we had anything. It wasn't Sevy.
I mean, to be honest, it really wouldn't matter who we had pitching out there if you can't score runs.
You're right. You're 100% right on that. But you're going to put it out there that the first game where they were just going at it, it was basically hits all over the place, home runs, and the way the game was going. Okay, so if we had Nestor up on the mound, instead, you're going to say the Mets were going to be able to get all those runs on us? No, they weren't. Okay, Cole's up there. Sevy was up there. No, Domingo with at least maybe 2 months or 1 full month of starts under his belt, maybe, compared to, oh my gosh, wow, like this is his second start. And his first start was against Houston. Big deal. I'm not going to care. I'm not going to care.
Yeah, but don't forget, Domingo pitched well for a second start. And he was going toe to toe with Scherzer along the way.
100%. I agree with that. And that's why I'm not going to jump off the bridge over, oh wow, we lost to Mad Max and we lost to Walker. Big deal.
All I'm saying is the Mets are a good team this year. That's all I'm saying. I'm not surprised 100%.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have a Subway series.
And going up against Scherzer, that's like going up against Clemens back in the day. Max Scherzer has owned us even since he was a member of the Detroit Tigers. If you remember back to the postseason, I think it was 2010, 2011, 2012, that time frame. He's owned us his whole career. So I wasn't expecting them to beat Scherzer. Taijuan Walker has really reinvented himself as a pitcher with the New York Mets. He couldn't really figure it out in Seattle, couldn't really figure it out in Arizona, and he's gone to New York and he's found something. So good for him. I mean, the Mets are a good team. They're in the AL East and they're competing and they got the Braves nipping at their heels. So
I mean, I'm not gonna say they're a good team. I'm gonna say they're because I got to do it like I'm not an older brother, but I got to, as a Yankee fan, I could act like an older brother to all of the Mets fans. So they're
And also, we were out Stanton as well. I mean, Stanton, remember last year at Citi Field, he hit like maybe 1 or 2 home runs and definitely hit one. I remember that was an opposite field, right field bomb. So, we weren't at full straight, not an excuse, but, I think having Stanton in the lineup, maybe in the first game would have made a difference. I think Scherzer probably would have struck him out anyway because Scherzer is just a beast. But, Stanton could have made a difference in the first game. One thing about Boone did in the second game, I think it was 2 outs when Hicks got a walk.
Don't even talk about it. Don't even talk. You're I know you're bringing
steal my thunder, James.
Well, I got to do it though. I'm the guest, so I'm going to take advantage.
Okay, well, James, before you even go there, everybody, we're going to bring out the horse for beating. Bring it out. Go ahead, James. It's on you. You could bring it out. The horse.
So I quite a question. Boone pinch hitting Gallo for IKF, and I understand there 2 outs. You're probably not getting 3 singles in a row, so you're going for the big 2-run home run. You figure, all right, maybe this gets into one, but we've seen it all season. IKF late in games, 8th, 9th, and extra innings, he's always good for a single. He's not going to hit a home run, but he's good for a single. All right, let him hit a single there, maybe at first and second, and then you have a runner in scoring position. Maybe that guy gets a single and bring one in. So I did not like the idea of going Gallo there when he's going to bring in Edward Diaz, who is going to blow Gallo away, and he did. I don't think that would have made a difference, but I definitely gave Boone a slap on the wrist for that one.
I legitimately think Buck was in the dugout like, do it. Dude,
I'll tell you one thing. As Fazio Boxer 100 said in our comments, Gallo isn't helping. You're 100% right about that. That's why he belongs on the bench or sent to a far away place, Neverland or something like that.
Sent to the moon.
And my bad, that was the first game, not the second game.
Yeah. So when this went down, I was literally sitting in front of my television set with my jaw on the ground. I said, I cannot believe what I am actually witnessing happening right now. You're going to pinch hit for a guy that's on fire right now and hitting IKF's just seeing the baseball as a beach ball right now, minus the home run power. But the guy's still getting hits and getting on base, and you're going to bring a guy up that's striking out 37% of the time and can't hit above $160. And I found this article in the New York Post when Boone was questioned about this after the game. It says Aaron Boone defended the move to go with strikeout machine over Kiner Falefa, who had 2 hits earlier in the game to extend his hitting streak to 13 games. He had a 13-game hitting streak, and you're pinch hitting for him for a guy that can't even hit his own weight. And the longest by a Yankee this season. Let that sink in for a second. Boone said, and I quote, "It's not just about getting a hit in that situation," Boone said, of why he went with Gallo over the slap-hitting Kiner Falefa. The other component is forcing the other hand to at least get their closer in there for a 4-out situation. I'm sorry, but what? Edwin Diaz is the best closer in the National League, and you're trying to force Buck's hand? This is as maddening as when he got out-managed by Cora last year when he brought in a right-handed reliever, and then Cora, I think, counteracted with bringing in Travis Shaw, the left-handed bat. It's just like, how do you get out-managed like this? Like, what are you doing? Someone please get the drink away from this man in the dugout.
God. So I have a rebuttal for all of that. First off, this is the softest 13-game hitting streak of all time.
And this 13-game hitting streak.
I'm not done. I'll let you talk. This is the softest 13-game hitting streak of all time. In these 13 games, IKF's OPS is 88. It's still below the league average. IKF is not the answer here. IKF is not the answer here. All right. Gallo, for all the faults that he has, and it's a lot. I'm not defending the move at all, but the thinking behind it, where it takes one swing in a 2-run game, who would you rather have up to the plate, IKF or Gallo? I mean, I wouldn't want either guy, honestly. Because
if you're going to bring up a legitimate question, I'm going to give you a legitimate answer. IKF, just for the fact that he is known at least to get on base, I would rather have someone on base and keep the line moving over someone who's a known out. That is my only reasonable rebuttal for that.
I mean, look at tonight's game. This is the first time I've ever seen someone run the count 3 balls and no strikes and then strike out looking.
Go
with Gallo
tonight
against Kansas City.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, what did Edwin Diaz do to the subsequent next 3 batters in the next inning?
I'm not going to disagree. We
saw the same game.
Exactly.
We saw the same game. All out. Exactly. Yeah. And in game 2, who was not available for the Mets?
Diaz.
Who had a chance to win game 2? The Yankees. They didn't win it, but you see we had
a better chance. Just 100%. We had a better chance by forcing Buck to do something that he didn't want to do to his closer. He could have had an opportunity to have his closer again last night. I do agree.
Yeah.
But as the fan process now taking my feet out of being oh my gosh, let's be analytical. Go back to fan. Yeah, dude, that sucked. That sucked to see that.
The optics of it was terrible because we all knew what was going to happen. Everybody knew what was going to happen.
We saw it this season.
17. This guy's about to set a record in the big leagues for Ks per 9. He's at 17. That's ridiculous. He's getting 2 Ks per inning. Like, he's averaging that. So, and you throw up the strikeout king in Gallo. I mean, it didn't work out, but what if it did? It would have been a tie ball game. But
I just think for the fact
we're not surprised.
I think it was just the fact it was IKF, just because we've seen him in so many big games in the ninth inning come through with a hit. Like, honestly, if you even lifted him for Donaldson, I would almost say okay with that, just because you figure the lefty on righty matchup. I'd be almost okay him lifting Donaldson over IKF. IKF is such a contact hitter, and that more I'd rather have the contact hitting late in the game, just to, again, try to get a little rally going there, a little 2-out magic.
Yeah. Just so we could strike out the side. I mean, Edwin Diaz is on a different level this year.
Look at it. We did the same move again last night too. When we in the end, when we basically he did the whole all in and said, let's put Jose Trevino in there. Let's see if magic happens. It didn't happen. Yeah. That's all. We just are lucky that we have more magic with Jose when we put him in on the Higgy days over us when we put in Gallo in for whatever day he's off, because
all I'm gonna say about the catching situation, Jose Trevino should be catching 4 out of 5 days of the week.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Mark? What you got?
I'm over this.
Oh yes, well that one I agree with. I've been banging that drum for a while, man. Even before the season started, I kept on saying that Higgy's shouldn't be the starting catcher. They ran with him. That's another we'll talk about dead horse. That's another dead horse right there. But when it comes down to Gallo, I get like Danny was saying, I get the move. You're talking about a soft hitting singles guy. Rather get a single. Want to get the line moving. Maybe once in a while IKF can get you a double, but I mean mostly it's going to be singles. You're going to try. You want to try for the win. Try for the win, but you go with somebody else up there, man. Joey Gallo is not the answer anymore. It's a proven thing. I think he's played 136 games right now over the full year he's been with us, and he has 193 strikeouts. All right, so let's let that number sink in for a second. 193 strikeouts in 136 games he's played as a Yankee.
Have we ever in our team's history had a hitter worse than this guy? I mean, I can't really think of anyone that struck out more than this dude.
No, he's historically bad. He is historically bad. But what do you...
Katie brought up that information, like Danny said.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do? The only thing you can do is there's 2 teams interested in going for Joey Gallo right now.
Good. Make it happen after the game tonight. Send him to Texas. Send him to San Diego. I don't give a darn if you're getting a box of pine tar or
San Diego ain't doing it until the Juan Soto thing is completely out of reach, and the Rangers aren't going to give more than a box of crayons for him back.
Good. Take it.
So
I'm sure you guys saw the meme that was going around today. I think Judge has 38 home runs this season. Gallo's has 37 hits. Just
yeah.
All right.
I mean that.
I have not seen that
James.
meme.
That says it. James, that says it all now, doesn't it?
I need to see that meme.
Yeah, it's been making the rounds.
Hilarious. I was like, man, what
I
a
think we
troll
posted
job.
it on Instagram. Yeah.
Just getting back to the catching situation. I mean, I know that Ben Rovette kind of coming back from rehab, but for some reason, I just don't think. I mean, I agree with you. Trevino should get like 4 of the 5 starts, whatever, and maybe have Higgy as Cole's personal caddy because they have that little mojo together. But overall, I think Higgy knows his pitching staff, and the pitching's been good this season. So even though Higgy's he's just as bad as Gallo in a way, but also I think he just knows the staff so well. They just don't want to mess with that mojo. So unless he gets hurt or something like that, I think it's still going to be Trevino and Higgy pretty much the rest of the way this season.
But I'll counter this with you, James. For a long stretch, they have not been doing the Higgy Cole tandem. It's been Trevino. Trevino's fully taken over him and Cole. I think it's not anymore the day after.
Not automatic,
yeah.
I think the reasoning is because they're getting ready
for
playoff baseball, that they know that Jose, he's going to need to be able to be at it. So they're starting to get his knees and his body acclimated for the whole. Let's start working now. You're playing more games after in a row. Let's start getting those knees ready and all that kind of stuff. So that way, when the postseason kicks in, he's not like dead. Like every other catcher is going to be out there, and when the postseason kicks in.
You're right,
And
but
depending on that
he's got to be. If you're gonna have Trevino doing that, he's got to be going up with your number 1, your number 2, and at least your number 3 on most occasions. Those three pitchers he's got to be catching regularly. So it's got to be Cole, it's got to be Nestor, and until Sevy gets back, it'll be Sevy. But I mean, right now it's Monty over everybody else.
I mean,
until Sevy.
You know, you want to say the Castillo name. You're like, and hopefully Castillo.
Off of what Alex is saying too, they really need to start getting a consistent lineup out there every single day. They can't keep flip-flopping this lineup every single day the way they're doing it all season. There needs to come to a point where it needs to be the same lineup every day as you get closer to October.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to do it though.
Yeah, they haven't done it all season. I mean, you got 10 guys for 9 positions is what they have.
They didn't do it last season, and on top of that, they haven't done that in postseasons in a while. It's like they might have there might be a postseason here, a postseason there, but like in very recently, last year, their lineup was you don't know what it was going to be.
Yankees prioritize staying healthy, and that includes days off. When you have players like Glaber and DJ and Donaldson for 2 positions, they're going to be moving around every day. When you have a guy like Carpenter that got hot, you got to find his way into the lineup. And one thing on Trevino, I think the most games he's played in a season is like 80.
Yeah,
he's not used to this workload.
And then and then also like on the whole lineup area, giving people days off and everything, like they might have a day off, but technically they don't have a day off. Like how many games has there been like, oh, Rizzo's off today. Oh, look, it's the 8th inning or the 7th inning or something like that. And Rizzo's coming back up is going into the game now because, hey, it's do or die time. We know what we got to do. It's like, those are like hand grenades that we have ready. Like, all right, pull that sucker. Let's get this game on the road. We got to win this now.
Yeah, I just think that everyday lineup thing is kind of like a pipe dream at this point. Like, it's just not.
It's
feasible.
very old school. It's really too old school now.
But I think you're
so
going to see
game update. It's 0-0 going into the 8th, and we still only have 1 hit.
Yeah, we'll turn it around. This is the type of games we win, especially games like against teams like Kansas City.
At least it's not a no hitter.
Yeah.
James, what were you trying to say before?
No, I was just saying, like, what you're going to see tonight, I think we'll see a lot of Benintendi leading off moving forward, though. I don't think we'll see those days of, like, Rizzo and Judge leading off games, which I was a fan of. But I think Benintendi, even though he's not the perfect leadoff hitter, but I think with his high batting average and contact and getting on base, I think that's the type of guy at least you'd want in there. And I like the idea of DJ as a number 2. Almost reminds me of Derek. When he was that number 2 hitter, he's almost perfect slap hitter, goes right field with that. And then you have your big boys up there, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, and so forth. So, yeah, I think we'll see a lot of Benintendi leading off. That's the one thing you can almost count on.
You think Benintendi's going to lead off, or you're going to go? You can flip flop them too. You could put DJ 1 and then Benintendi 2. I mean, you still just play that righty lefty kind of give a little change up so you don't see too many right handers in a row. Because at that point you move Judge to 3 because he's Judge likes being in the 3 hole better than the 2 hole. Rizzo 4, or even move Rizzo a little bit further down, put Stanton 4, then Rizzo 5. Glaber 6, then you can play that game going forward down the line. I mean, having Benintendi is going to lengthen that lineup, and knock on wood, he turns around, gets his vaccine shots going, and so he'll be able to play in Toronto.
And he'll only be missing 2 games in Toronto anyway. If we do what's in playoffs and
but those
games 3 and 4.
Yeah, but I mean, the 3 and 4. I mean, that can make or break a season. What if it's 1-1 that's going into that?
You're right, Mark. You're right, but you got to also look at it. We've had their number all season long. It's like, oh wow, the Orioles won a game against us in the postseason. But what have we been doing to the Orioles all season long? Everything else, we know we're gonna win. It's like, look at it. We know who can take care of in the postseason, and we already know there's only probably after this last series. We might see them in the World Series too. So we already know who we got to look at.
I mean, first half of the season, I'd agree with you. But going into the second half, this is not the same team from the first half of the season.
You really think that they were going to keep that sort of playing going on the whole season long, that they were not going to regress?
But I didn't think it was going to crash the way it has. And not like it's not like the sky is falling crashing. I mean, they're getting into a little bit of a skid, which we expected. But
where the sky is falling is in our deep part of the bullpen. That's where the sky is falling.
Yeah,
It's
Michael
not
King, that's big.
correct. That's
Huge.
where our sky is falling. Other than that, I don't see us like, oh my gosh, we can't take care of that crack and hopefully put some plaster and or some duct tape or whatever you want to do and fix it up and patch it up. But everything else, it all systems go.
So we started off 49-16, and over our last 34, we're 17-17. Not necessarily sky falling, but there's some
reason for
concern. Right. And like Alex is saying, it has a lot to do with our pitching. Obviously, the starters are not putting up 1.5 ERAs 1 through 5. They're kind of coming down to earth a little bit. And the back end of the bullpen, even the middle of the bullpen at this point, because Miguel Castro's been down. Marnacho has been a godsend, really. And Wandy's been up and down. He's had good moments, and he's had a lot of other moments.
Same with Licky. Licky's been up and down.
No, Licky's been nailed.
Well, he's been good as of recently. I'm talking like he's been season in total. It's been up and down for him.
I mean, over his last 17 innings, I think he's only given up like 3 earned runs or something like that. Yeah. So, Licky's been, but he's the middle guy. He's your middle to long guy. He's not going to be providing big impact innings when we're in front. So we got to find out that formula again when we do get leads. Like Wandy, Johnny Lowe, Chapman, Holmes. Can Chapman even be trusted? So I think I brought this up with us, like internally. Who do you trust most in his bullpen?
Well, obviously you trust Holmes, but leading up to that, like, just go to your point, Loaiza, he hasn't shown us that he's the Loaiza from 2021 when he was good. I mean, he has to establish himself. Chapman's just a mess. You hold your breath there, and again, with the loss of Michael King, that's huge because there's no one you can think of who you feel comfortable. I like Marinacho; he's a nice guy, but he still hasn't established himself that he's going to get big outs, especially in the playoffs. So. I'm sure that we'll get to that in the conversation, but if we make moves, it has to be bullpen.
James, I'm not gonna trust the Karate Kid until we start having everybody out there in the outfield and in the stands with the little clappers from Japan.
Pretty cool, actually.
So with the bullpen, I mean, do we start taking guys from the minor leagues and even if they're starters, putting them in there, people on the 40-man? I'm not adding people to a 40-man roster that aren't on like a Waldachuk and Wisniewski. I'm talking like Clark Schmidt.
Clark Schmidt, JP Sears. 100%.
So maybe JP Sears. JP, I like him as a spot starter. But I'm thinking more along like maybe if Devi had a nice rehab start today or yesterday in Double A, or not start. Excuse me. He had but not as a starter. Put him in the pen. Give him a couple innings. Give him an inning or two in the pen. He might figure something. He might be better off that way, and that's what a lot of people were thinking, that Devi might be a bullpen guy. Why not have Luis Medina come in as a bullpen guy? Don't let him air it out for an inning. That thing is going to hit 105 with that curveball. That's going to be nasty. I mean, why not give him why not give that a chance? What would you think about that, James?
If you want to answer first.
No, go ahead, James.
Well, actually, I liked your thinking, but I was actually thinking more out of the box with that. How about, Luis Severino, who we've seen in that role when we try to bring him back as a starter, but there's not enough bandwidth to build him up. Last season, we had him, come out late in the game, 7th, 8th inning, and then since he doesn't have to worry about going 5-6 innings, he can just air it out and just blow 100 mile per hour fastballs past people. Even back in 2015 when the Yankees brought him back from a rehab, they had him come out of the bullpen, and he was just lights out. So, maybe have a situation where ideally we'd love to have Sevy back as a starter, but he might be more valuable to us as a 7th to 8th inning guy, just because he has experience doing it and he has playoff experience, so he can handle it.
Well, I would take Sevy in the bullpen if we make one move that hopefully by August 2nd we make that move.
Oh gosh, we're gonna beat that drum now.
Where's my horse? Where is it?
No, that's a drum. That's not a horse. That's not a horse. That's a drum. This is a drum he's beating right now. For it.
Danny and I have been talking about this for years.
Literally.
You have legitimately already converted, I think, all of us to the same side. They're talking on it on the TV all the time, too. Wow.
Gosh.
Come to the dark side. We got cookies here.
Yeah.
But the milk is sour.
I like your way of thinking with Medina, bringing him up and giving him a chance. But, to bring new people in, people that are currently here got to leave. So with Chapman having a full-blown no trade clause, with Domingo Germán not having any trade value right now, it's how are you going to add these guys? Like, I would love to see Medina. I would love to see Sears in the bullpen as a long guy, or even in the rotation if they move Sevy to the bullpen. I think that'd be a great fit. Clark Schmidt, another guy that's been total lights out this year with his up and down on the Scranton shuttle. But like I said, to add people got to leave. And unless you're DFAing somebody, it's not going to happen. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but that's
I am going to make a
reality of it.
package with. I'm going to make a package with Montgomery. I'm going to make a package in there with Montgomery. I'm going to put Joey Gallo in there. I'm going to put maybe 2 prospects in there of choice. And if they play hardball, maybe then I'll add 1 more prospect. But 100%, what I'm going to do for Castillo, I'm going to give away Joey Gallo and I'm going to give away Montgomery and probably 3 prospects just to get rid of him, and I have a good pitcher then, and that fills in a hole that I'm getting rid of at the same time, and it makes someone else coming up.
That's
as much of a dumpster fire as Cincinnati is. I don't think they'd be taking our trash. So,
well,
why not?
That's
why
not
not?
how trades work. That's not how things work, guys. Let's be real. Come on, man. I'm gonna use your
which is why I'm saying I don't think anyone's taking our trash.
I mean, what? Tell them, don't worry, you're not gonna have to pay for you're not gonna pay for Joey Gallo. We'll finish off his whole contract, and we're gonna finish off the whole, and we pay also for.
I mean, it worked.
He's a free agent after this.
It worked one time with Sonny Gray.
Yeah, so it's a free rental. It's a nice free rental. Then basically, they're not paying anything.
I've only seen a trash trade work once, and that was when we got Sonny Gray for Dustin Fowler, who blew out his knee, James Kaprielian, who had arm problems, and Jorge Mateo, who was at that time a 4A player. I mean, that is the only time I've seen a team take our trash, if you will.
But you also got to realize, though, Castillo, like when he was last here, he was doing the audition. We all know it was an audition. And on top of that, he wants to be here. So he's probably talking to our front office like, yo, man, I've been here for so long. I've been doing what I got to do. Help me out.
They don't care what he has to say. They're like, yo, I want the most. I want Peraza. That's where they're starting. It's going to start with Peraza. And it's up to Brian Cashman to work his magic and get him off Peraza. Because I think Peraza and Volpe and Dominguez, those guys are the real deal. I really – just everything I've seen.
Side of the infield.
Those are two.
Exactly.
So James, you follow the minor league? You follow anything in the minor leagues at all?
Not too close. I mean, obviously, I just check like news feeds and Twitter and Facebook to see what people are talking about them. So obviously we know the big names, Jason Dominguez and Volpe, stuff like that, but not like too extensive just with the minors, because you always hear about someone's the next so and so, and then they turn out to be like Jacoby Ellsbury or something.
100%. 100%.
We've been tracking like literally the top 30 of our prospects all season long.
But think about but James is right, because like throughout the history of this league, and I've been hearing on Yankees base, it's like this guy's the next this, and it's like oh, and then they come up and like, oh wow, he's trash.
They're just average.
To quote Michael Kay, he always says this. He says prospects are always suspect, right?
Always.
That's always until they start proving it. I think that Peraza can take over for IKF right now, and you don't lose anything defensively. Actually, you gain something defensively, because I'm not high on IKF defensively, and you're going to get better at bats because he's got more pop. He's got more pop in the bat.
So you're going to say we might get a home run?
He's got 10 in AAA, so yeah.
Small.
And speaking of that, Volpe just hit one tonight too or hit one the second game at least for AA. So I mean, he's got 15 on the year too. So I mean, you got guys that they're coming up, they're pushing the envelope.
That was a hell of a play by Glaber.
So I kind of compared Volpe in a conversation with a friend last night to like a Jose Ramirez type, and I say this just based on profile. Jose Ramirez, when he first came, he was the second baseman, converted to third, but stole bases, had power, and he has great contact skills. And everything that I've seen from Volpe, just from his demeanor, from the skill set that he brings to the table, 36 out of 40 stolen bases in Double-A, the 15 homers. I'm not sure what his batting average is now, but he's still a guy that gets on base, makes good contact, and if you put him at third base, he's going to provide the athleticism. So I really like that idea of Peraza at short and Volpe at third. Because I think
Volpe's batting 259 right now.
Okay. But that's after starting one for.
Oh yeah. No, both of him and Peraza were both on the interstate for a long time. Even Dominguez, they were all on the interstate, and then for Jason, he took off in May, came down a little bit in June, had a nice little stretch in July, and then he got bumped up and started off hot when he went to high A ball. So, I mean, the top three guys, they're throwing it down. I mean, Austin Wells, he moved up to Double-A, and he's still doing well. Everson Pereira's up in Double-A. He's doing well. That's another name right there to think about. So, I mean, those our position players do well. I mean, Trey Sweeney, he's got to turn it around. I mean, listen, if we can get away with putting Trey Sweeney in the deal over Peraza, I'd be the happiest man in the world. Happiest man in the world.
I'd even throw in Vargas, bro. I'd throw in Sweeney and Vargas instead of Peraza by himself.
And Andres Gomez. Here you go.
And I'll pay up for pitchers. I'll throw in Waldichuk. I'll throw in Medina, and you can take our two shortstops. I think that's
Warren. I think Warren's the guy that's going to be in the deal. I think Warren that they want. From what I hear, they're really high. I think the Cincinnati wants these two. I think they're 100% in on Peraza. They want him, and they want Medina. And I think we can get away with giving Warren in there. So I think if you give up, you pull back on Peraza, you give Warren, you give Medina, and give him another shortstop. Like, do it in a heartbeat. Yeah. Or give him two shortstops. Give him Trey Sweeney, and then even if you don't give him Vargas, go further down. Give him Hans Montero. He's not doing too bad in the DSL, but I mean, give him that.
I get a bad feeling if they trade Waldichuk, it's going to come back and bite them in the butt hard. Like,
if we win a World Series, it's not going to matter. And that's what all these guys. That's what all these guys. Right?
Here's the reason why I want to see them hold on to Waldichuk. Okay, we have way too many relievers in the minor league system right now. It seems like every pitcher that comes up, they don't work out in the starting rotation. They end up in the bullpen. Ken Waldichuk, to me, is a proven starting pitcher, and to let that just get traded away, I'm just not okay with that. I'm just not. And not with his numbers the way they are.
Yeah, and just getting back to Castillo again, the ask price probably gonna be high. I was actually looking at some teams that just out of it, and I think that a good sleeper starter, and I think you could probably get him, is Madison Bumgarner. You look him right now; he's with Arizona. That whole thing's a dumpster fire. They're probably looking to get rid of him. And he has 2 years left on his contract. So it's like we don't have to give up great prospects because we got to pay the guy for another 2 years. And he's not the Madison Bumgarner of 2013, 2014. I get that. But he's one of the greatest postseason pitchers in the history of the game. A left-hander. He's not going to be phased. I mean, I would trust him. I would maybe trust him as equally as Garrett Cole or anyone else to take them out in a big game in Houston, a playoff game. So if they could get him, I think he's very obtainable. I would like to actually rather see that move versus going to whether it's Montes or Castillo and just giving a boatload of stuff for, all right, you're getting a great pitcher, and again, it's going to help. But at least Madison Bumgarner, he's not going to cost that much, and you got him signed for another 2 years after this.
And Bumgarner, too, is only 32 years old. So he's not that old. And, Montes kind of scares me with that arm injury he had earlier in the season. And, he's a 2-month rental at that point. So, yeah. I was talking about it last week about Bumgarner, but
Well, how about this one then? The Marlins just said that everyone except for Sandy Alcantara is up for sale. So why not go for Pablo Lopez?
Yeah, that's been brought up.
Yeah, Lopez is going to cost a pretty penny though.
Yeah, exactly, because he's arbitration eligible for the next 2 years, and that's a little bit different than being paid $20 million. And I don't think Howe will be okay with spending money on what's his face, Bumgarner.
I don't
also,
I don't see us getting Bumgarner either. His numbers this season alone are not, oh my gosh, outstanding at all. Like he's pitching.
He's playing in Arizona.
But okay, so he's
playing in
pitching
Arizona.
Which is hard. Which
But-
is hard.
Yeah, it's 100% hard, but like
He's got no offense,
I don't
basically
see
barely any defense behind him. Of course, your numbers
so
going to be doing
you're gonna legitimately go out there and be like, let's get someone who has a career 39 WAR and bring him over. No, I'm sorry, man. I'm not gonna put a gamble on that guy. Like he's not worth anything for me. I'd rather keep my
The
toys.
man's got 3
and
World Series rings.
good for him.
Yeah.
That's nice.
His
Boston
ERA
has Boston has World Series rings too. Okay, I don't care. Doesn't matter.
No,
But it's not that he
I
has
think when it
rings.
comes
He
to
was-
that, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm
Jim.
saying not he does has the rings though, but he literally carried the San Francisco
Yeah.
Giants on his back, sort of way
Yeah.
did,
Yeah,
and he
but
literally
but
got
he
them.
might- But the way he's pitching right now, it's gonna show that like he might not have it. And he might already threw it
Dude,
out
he's
already.
on
and
a trash of a team.
I'm not gonna.
Dude, you could be the best pitcher in the world, and you're not going to win games if you got a bum offense and a bum defense behind you.
Okay,
It's
then
just
guess
not
what?
gonna
Whose
happen.
choice is that? Because guess what? You know what? You could be a bum on a team, but if you're gonna come out there and you're gonna pitch like an all-star, people are gonna know it. But he hasn't been pitching like an all-star this season.
You could throw a no-hitter and still lose a game.
His ERA is high; it's like a little under 4. But I think that's the only thing you look at that. But the win loss is, I guess, because he's on a crappy team. I wouldn't pay much. I think he might be like 1 or 2 games under 500. But yeah, his ERA is a little high this year. Again, he's not the same guy as he was years ago, but he's not going to cost much. And and just to have a left-hander with experience in the playoffs, I think that would help. I would trust him again. I would go, other than Cole, I would trust him more than anyone else we have right now in our starting rotation.
I'll trust Castillo more than I trust him.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now. If I'm going, I'm going for the. I'm not
I'm
going
going
for the. I'm not going to the swap shop for my toy. Sorry, I'm going to Toys R Us. I'm going into the store and I'm getting the good toy.
That's kind of tough.
Okay.
Toys R Us is not around anymore.
It's around the Canada and the online store and online. Get it right.
Well, crazy enough, they are some making a little bit of a comeback. Like they're not
They
totally
are.
out of the game.
See?
They're
See?
starting to
Told
come
you.
back a little bit.
They got
Making a
their
comeback.
online store and their things.
They're gonna be in some Macy's too. Anyway,
Alex really sounds like an acolyte of ours right now, Dan. He's fully bought in. He's on the train.
100%.
He bought the ticket. He's taking the ride.
I have seen the dark side. I have breathed it in, and you know what? I'm okay with those sour milk. The cookies are really, really good.
And I was also thinking another wild card factor. I'll say Boston's probably around the corner of just tearing that whole thing down. You've seen that they're trying to take it offers from JD Martinez. I think someone who we could get would be valuable, is crazy enough, would be Nathan Eovaldi. He's on the last year of this deal, so you could get him for easily. And he has World Series experience. I mean, he was great in the 2018 World Series, and he's a jack of all trades. He could be that's what literally did with Boston that year. Sometimes he would spot start, sometimes he would come out of bullpen, he would close games. I think a guy like that would be valuable. Just again in a playoff series, just because whatever you need him to do, he could do it, and he'll cost literally almost nothing to get.
Yeah. When I think
but
about
it's just-
Sevy, all right. When I think about Sevy in the bullpen, the more I think about it, the more excited I get about that prospect. Because what year did the Nationals win the World Series? 2019.
19.
You saw Corbin coming out of the bullpen. You saw Strasburg coming out of the bullpen. It worked for them, but I think if we put Sevy in that role, my gosh, that would take up that Mike King hole, I think. And you're not really worrying about the 7th or 8th because you got a guy like Sevy who knows he's going to throw strikes. He's going to get ahead. He's going to be aggressive in the strike zone, and he's a proven dude.
The worry you have on the Sevy, putting him into the out of the rotation, pull him out of the rotation realistically, is will it backfire on us? That because yes, he's done it before, we know this, but there's always that possibility that look at Chappie, him not closing, he man doesn't even he needs to learn how to throw right now. That's what that boy needs to do.
I mean, he looked good.
But his arm is
when he was
shot,
closing
man. That
games.
dude is done.
So 100%. And it's like, but is Sevy willing or not willing? Does he have the mental does he have the mental fortitude to let it go through that? That's my only question. But like, if he could prove it out there, like, boom, hey, I'm all for it.
But this is all contingent upon getting Castillo. If we get Castillo, then 100% we got to put Sevy in that bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
It saves those innings that the post Tommy John first year back from Tommy John.
If we do that, then who would you have as number 4? Because we already know who 1, 2, and 3 will be in the postseason. Who would you have as the number 4?
Monty or Tyone, whoever's hot.
At that point, piggyback him.
Yeah,
piggyback both of them.
Or
if one craps the bed in the first inning, guess what? The other one's up and ready to go. There's an absolute short leash with both of them.
I would actually be more in favor of putting Monty in the bullpen over Severino right now, with the lack of run support and everything else. I put
that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, but Monty. But I don't think
Monty
doesn't have that. Monty's not geared that way. He's never been in the bullpen. He's always been a starter. So, like, for him to make that move it's really would screw with his head. At least my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else can talk.
And you're 100% right, because like that's why I'm also worrying. Have a slight worry on the whole Sevy thing, because pitchers are creatures of habit of all players in all sports. In my opinion, they are the biggest creature. It's like you can't change a thing. We saw the game last night. Way Mad Max was going ahead. He was getting mad about the dumbest things, but that's pitchers. All of us here know that.
So
definitely the case with Chapman, yeah.
I don't even. Oh my gosh!
What did I say? What did I say?
Wow! Good.
We win games like this.
Hit the gritty, man. Hit the gritty.
Oh my gosh!
We win games like
another
this.
walk-off home, third walk-off home run of the
I'll
year.
take it. I'll take it. Do you guys know who we had at the bullpen warming up just now?
Chapman. Thank God.
Yes. When I saw Chapman in the bullpen, my eyes. Look at my eyes. They went like this. Dude. They went like this. I was like, no, I don't want
pay that man. Al, just open your checkbook and give the man a blank check. Give this man whatever he asks for.
Unless we have Soto, because if we have Soto, I am not. No. I'm sorry, I am not going to open up.
Take care of Aaron Judge first before you take care of Juan Soto.
You're being. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna
love
cut you both
Dave.
off. Hold on, wait, Alex, hold on. I'm going to cut you both off. I'm going to let you both in on a little secret. We can afford both of those guys.
I know
there's $50 million coming off this year, after this year. I think if you put the numbers right, there's $60 million coming off next year. There is plenty of money to go around for both of them.
And Soto, you don't really have to extend for another 2 seasons. So
but then after those 2 seasons, I'm telling you right now, I want him for 10 more years. At least. With his age, I want him minimum
35. So yeah.
I would take that boy. I would sign that boy till he's the age of 38. Be like, you're 38 years old. You could either want to stay with us. If you're good enough at 38, you're good enough. If not, congratulations, you're a Marlin. You could be an attraction at Florida.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to the Marlins. But
James, he will if he's getting ready to retire.
Well, everyone wants to be down there for retirement. But James, you brought up a good point with Sevy going to the pen. Let me ask you this that a name's been thrown out there. Former starting pitcher, now relief pitcher for Detroit, Michael Fulmer. What are your thoughts about trying to go after him?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have to bring in not even 1 but 2 bullpen. But if they don't solve this in-house with Sevy, I don't want to bring anyone up for the minors, but either convert Sevy or you're going to have to bring in 2. Fulmer, I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind even having the third time the charm with David Robertson, who's having kind of a bounce back season with the Cubs. They're out of it, and again, I think he's on his last year of this deal, so it's not going to cost much. So. Yeah, I meant something like Fulmer will be fine. I'll be okay with David Robertson, but we're going to need 2 arms in here because, again, go from 8th inning, 7th inning, 6th inning, you don't trust any of these people right now. Hopefully, Loaiza could maybe bounce back. Right now, you don't trust anybody in a big spot. So, if we get some proven arms from elsewhere, trade deadline, I think that's really the top priority for me.
I think in the Yankees world, if Aaron Boone were to do this in his brain and without, having to worry about how they've been performing this season, you will want a Loizaga Chapman Holmes kind of bridge. And that's just based off what, the promise that Chapman could give because his fastball's been better. He hit 101 the other day. The problem with Chapman is the lack of command. And Johnny Loizaga, he against the Mets, he really used his fastball well, and he was throwing that slider out of the zone. And I feel like where Johnny's gotten in trouble is throwing that slider in the zone over the plate. So to see him make that adjustment was nice to see. But I think in a perfect world, you would want to see, maybe not us as Yankee fans, but Aaron Boone, he would want to see Loizaga, Chapman, Holmes kind of close games out.
I mean, in the perfect world, if the stars have all aligned perfect and everything like that, I think we would like that as Yankee fans if everything was working correctly. But I mean,
yeah,
I mean, how much trust can we have in Chappie? Like, oh my gosh,
not much.
I mean, like, as a player and what he's done in the past, it's like there's those days you love him, and then there's those days you just see the guy's like, yay, I'm seeing that smiling Houston all over again. And I'm sorry. It's like, like the problem with Chappie, he's been dependent on his heat and his velocity for way too long that he knows how to throw that ball, but he's never learned how to pitch. If he had a pitch, a skilled pitch, an awesome curve, an awesome cutter, or anything that's like over the fastball, then yeah, but he doesn't have it.
Well, he's got a slider. His slider was working well for quite some time. He had a splitter. He had a changeup he was throwing for a bit. I mean, he's had all those pitches and he's gone away from them. The problem with Chapman right now is that he's very predictable. He falls in love with his slider too often over the fastball. The minute that he looks back and looks at the fastball and miles per hour, if it's not hitting 100, he's going to fall away from it. If he can't get the first one over the plate, you see the body language change, becomes disgusted, and then he becomes a slider type pitcher. And just throws the slider over and over, and he stays away. He's got a split finger fastball too. Stays away from the split finger. He's got all these. He's worked on all these.
Maybe it's time for him to learn how to do a knuckle. Like, come on, man, throw a knuckle. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, learn something.
Everyone in that bullpen has learned how to throw a sinker. Why not just go with a sinker? You know what I mean? Like everyone, Loizaga, Britton, Holmes, they all do a sinker. Mm-hmm. Rock with the sinker now instead.
And the fastball still plays, though. I think it's just
when he gets it in the zone.
And so for him to realistically, he needs to get it through his head. That's like, stop putting 100 when at your age, with your arm not at 100 anymore, and start going to 80 or 85% or whatever to get location down.
Yeah, man. It's back in the day. It used to be, the fastball to set up the slider. Just to your point, he's the opposite. He doesn't trust his fastball, so now he's a slider pitcher to set up the fastball, and they set dead right on it, and they tattoo him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we also have Britton coming around the corner a bit. Maybe he's coming back by September, but I don't know if that's enough time for him to get enough work in to like establish himself to be the Britton we know from 2 years ago. So until Britton's there, pitching, and getting big outs in late games, I'm just not even counting him for this season.
If he was already pitching in the minor leagues right now, I would be optimistic about it. But since he's not, I think it's a wash for him this year.
I'm scared that he's going to be something in the postseason that we have ready, and it's going to be called that in case of emergency break glass situation. Like, who knows what happens? Like, for real. Like, I am scared that's what's going to happen, and that we're going to put him out there. And if they put him out there, that he's going to possibly end his career.
Hey, James, let me ask you this. Yankees kind of laid an egg against the Astros this year in the regular season. Are you worried about facing them in the postseason?
Oh, yeah, you have to be, because you just look at all the 6 games. Their starting pitching specifically has dictated the whole pace. Now I know the Yankees got 2 walk-off wins, exciting wins, especially that Hicks. But to me, that was a freak occurrence. Hicks hitting a 3-run home run in the 9th inning against the closer. That almost never happens, especially in postseason. And then, of course, Judge had the nice walk-off hit or walk-off home run. Sorry, against something. But again, that's like a freak occurrence. So we're kind of counting on winning on freak occurrences there. So right now, the Houston's out dragging. Now this season, I think we somewhat slayed the Tampa Bay Rays dragon, even though they've been hurt a little bit. So we can overcome Houston. I'm not saying they're impossible, but if we're facing Houston, especially if they have a better regular season record and they have more home games, I don't like our chances in that situation. Again, unless we get a big arm, or Luis Castillo, or somebody, some big arms in the trade deadline that kind of revitalizes the starting rotation a little bit. Their starters have just been better than ours, and their bullpen right now, especially with King out, is better than ours.
Hey, Mark, question. Since you were talking about earlier about the whole Soto and how we could afford Soto and Judge, how many years will it be then? Do you say that will be keeping Judge? If that's going on.
Judge is rocking in his contract here, so he's writing his own ticket for 8-9 years, maybe with a player option or a mutual option for a 10th year. I mean, he's gonna get like the 35 a year. I think it's gonna be up to. So the numbers are gonna be there, but you can make the trade for Soto if you want. From what Jeff Passan had a thing on he was on ESPN Radio yesterday. Said the Yankees have given a firm offer of Glaber plus 5 of the top 10 prospects they have. In the those 5, don't know which ones, but those 5, and that's the rumor, that's the best offer out there. But supposedly that San Diego is been the biggest one engaged trying to get Soto right now.
Oh, I hope that trade happens, because then that means I was right, Danny.
No, I don't. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if Passan released that, because I haven't seen that anywhere though.
I've seen it a couple places. Even I was talking. Even Paul Wood and I were talking yesterday. He was the one who actually sent it over to me.
Did you hear Jeff Passan say this?
He said he's up in New York. I'm not up in New York, or he's up in the tri-state area.
I want to hear Jeff Passan say this, because on his Twitter, it clearly says, if I don't put it on ESPN.com or Twitter, it didn't happen. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe
it was the NFT guy that hacked his Twitter during the lockout, posing as Jeff Passan on ESPN Radio.
John Heyman's the one who's coming out there saying that it's the Padres, that the Yankees are kind of on the back burner for the Nationals now. So I don't know. The ones
came out.
Yeah, I think I can't.
The trade package you were referring to, Mark, it was Glaber, Waldichuk, Peraza, and then 2 others that I'm blanking on, but those 3 were definitely in the conversation.
I can see that. I mean, I've heard people talking that the Yankees are pulling off hard nose on any conversation with Dominguez, any conversation with Volpe. They're not even entertaining those things, and they're trying to. There's people within the organization that have talked very loudly, and people are understanding and going forward with it, and saying Peraza is now becoming a untouchable as well, from what I've heard and what I've read. So,
the amount of prospects, and none of that if this guy realistically turned down the 15-year, $440 million deal, I mean. Honestly, I know he's a great player, but to give up crazy amounts of prospects, and plus to justify that, now you have to sign the guy to almost $500 million. I don't know. I just don't think he's worth it. I mean, I like him and all like that, but for what we have to give up, I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather, if you're going to spend money, just give it to the Judge man, and you're stuck with him for maybe 6-7 years, and versus stuck with someone for 12 years. And look what's going on right now with Mike Trout with the back issue now. He has that $400 million contract, which he might be like a Don Mattingly situation where he can't even hit anymore because we had back injury.
Yeah, and I don't think with Soto...
That's for carrying an organization for 10 years.
With Soto, I don't think it's about the money. I think he just legit does not want to stay in Washington, and he's just turning down everything that they throw his way.
No, he's got Scott Boras as his agent, and if you turn around,
that doesn't help either.
15 years at $440 is under $30 million a year. So, the money's going to come into play.
If he signed that deal, he will be the 21st most paid. And no, Juan Soto is one of the best top 5 players in baseball. He needs to be paid for that. That's his value. He's not going to take a hometown deal just because, you're the Nationals, you gave me a chance. No, man, show me the money, give me the Benjamins. I'm not here to make you feel good. I got to feed my family in Dominican Republic.
And he's only been in the league for 3 years. That's the crazy part about this whole thing.
The way he's the money he's going to get, Danny, he might be able to feed his whole town.
He'll be able to buy the island.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll be buying the island.
So here's the thing. So we kind of touched about it before, but the Yankees now have Andrew Benintendi. Do we look to keep him around? Go around the horn on this one. Alex, you first. We made the deal last night after the Mets had the walk-off win. Cut off any talk about Mets winning at that game anymore, like within a half an hour, because the whole talk was about Benintendi going to the Yankees. So let's go around the horn here. He's a rental right now. Should we re-sign him? And that's our left fielder.
I guess I'll jump at.
That's a hard one. That's really a hard one, actually. Like, I want to say he is a rental and we don't keep him. I do want to say that. And that's if we get the Castillo deal, he was definitely a rental. He's done. But if we don't get not Castillo deal, the Soto deal. But if we don't get the Soto deal, I would probably keep him, actually, because we could then could have something stable there. He's played. It's not like it's his first time playing Yankee Stadium. He's been in Boston. Like, he's played plenty of times in the stadium. So he has an advantage there. He has an advantage over in Boston as well because he knows how to play the monster. So why not?
What do you think, James?
Yeah, I would almost treat it almost like the Rizzo situation last year. Like, all right, you bring in a veteran player that you know is good. See how he fits in here. I think Benintendi will fit in fine. And then, again, to see it'll amount the amount of years and what he's asking for, what he's worth. But you got to consider, next year we still have Hicks for another 2 years after this year. Let's just say they re-sign Judge. We don't know if it's guaranteed. You still have Judge to consider. You have Stanton out there in right field, of course, so we still have like the 4 outfielders. One of them get a DH at some point. So we're still a little crowded out there. But again, if he has a good season and he fits in and he's not asking for the earth, stars, and the moon, it's a guy I wouldn't mind bringing back.
Don't forget, he's also 27 years old.
Like, he's still very young.
It's not like he's not like another 30-year-old we're throwing out in the outfield. I mean, he's a young guy. I mean, we're still now getting into his prime. I mean, he did change his swing for Kansas City where he can't hit those big bombs anymore. But coming to Yankee Stadium, playing in the AL East, I mean, he's got a shot at going back to being a 15 home run guy.
I mean, I gotta get he's a lefty, so it works out too. There are things about having him onto the team that are all pluses. So it's like I don't really see a downside as long as it's not like we got him to then trade him away to make it to trade him right away to Washington, or let's say just for the heck of it, because he decided, you know what? Oh, you want it? Okay, we'll go ahead, take it. Okay, but I don't see that happening either because of the rental. Nobody wants the rental, so we're gonna probably have him. And if he proves himself this year, I don't see why the Yankees, why Cashman wouldn't try to give him some sort of deal. He traded for him.
So I like Benintendi a lot, man. He's a Gold Glover. He won his first Gold Glove last year. He's been in our rivalry, albeit on the other side, but it's still a big market, and it's still an opportunity to shine in the biggest moments. We all saw that play in 2018 when they were at Houston and he made that dive-in play with Bregman up, and that was a great play by Benintendi. So he brings that pedigree of a winner, albeit on a shooting team. But they still won the World Series that year, and they were the most dominant team, and he was a big part of that. So the left-handed bat, the high contact rate, the high on base, he's not going to strike out too much.
I forgot that part. He has experience. Positives. He does have the experience.
And 27 years old. You might look at 5 for 20. Would you guys do that for Benintendi? That might be his asking.
I don't know if I'm looking at like 5 or 6 years of commitment to him. So I'm saying like if he'll take some sort of like 2-year, so even if we front load a little extra money, but yeah, I don't want to be stuck. Like he's the type of guy who's good, but I don't want to be committed to him for the next 5-6 years.
2-3 years. I would say a deal for 2-3 years.
I think at 27, if I'm Scott Boras, I'm asking for 5 years, $20 million a year.
Scott will push for 6, but he'll settle for 5.
Yeah. So I think that 2-3 year deal is not going to do it. He's 27 years old in his prime.
It really depends. Like it depends on like how he does right now for the team though, because look at Rizzo. It's like they legitimately kept Rizzo just drifting in the wind until they decided to make a deal on him. Like yeah, there were other options out there in the offseason for it anyway. But they'll probably do the same thing they will probably do the same thing to him. And like, if he really, really, really liked the squad and the organization, and he wanted to, he was telling Scott, he's like, he's going out there, he's to his agent. He's like, I want to be on that team. It's like, yeah, but if they're not asking what you're worth, I don't know. It's like we already know Rizzo could have probably gone to another team if he wanted to, and probably made more and a bet or for more years.
Well, with Rizzo, he's playing close to home. He's a Jersey kid, so there's that aspect.
Rizzo's
I like Benintendi. I like Benintendi, but I think there's going to be multiple things that come into play with this. One is going to be how he performs from here on out with the Yankees. That's going to be the number one. Number two, going into the offseason, it's really going to dictate what Estevan Florial does the rest of the year in AAA. We all know how Hal likes to save his money and not spend it and tends to lean towards the cheaper option. I think that's going to have a lot to do with it because Florial is just dying on the vine in AAA unless they put him in a trade package somewhere this season. I think it's really going to come down to that. And then again, like we've been saying, it's about the years and the money. I wouldn't commit more than 3 or 4 years to him. 15 to 20 million, I think is a fair offer. He is 27 years old. He's a left-handed bat. He's a contact hitter, batting over 320 or 320. You just don't let a guy like that just be a 2-month rental, in my opinion. But like I said, it's gonna all these other factors are gonna come into it, and ultimately how the Yankees value him.
If I had like a crystal ball, I would say he's probably someone else is getting him a better deal than the Yankees would get. Maybe someone like the Cubs or Texas or Seattle out of nowhere. I wouldn't mind having him back, but I just don't think the Yankees will pay. And he's he's probably worth $20 million a year, but I just don't see the Yankees putting that when they could probably find a different option or again go in-house with Florial.
Yeah.
I agree with that one. I think Florial has to get a shot. I mean, with the advent of no matter whatever happens, whether Gallo's traded by August 2nd or not, he's not going to be back here next year. So there will be an opening in the outfield. I still think that there you could have a platoon position with Hicks and Stanton because Stanton playing in the field is good for him. I still think Hicks is too much of an injury risk to be an everyday player. And quite frankly, with after this year, what is it, 3 years? I think he's got 3 years left on his deal. 3 years for give or take about $30 million. I mean, that's easy money to move anyway. If you want to get rid of a Hicks, you can get rid of Hicks. But I think Benintendi maybe give him like the DJ contract, 10 years, give him 6 years at $90 million, give him 15 over the life of the deal. So
I think with Hicks though, it's really going to come down to one, can he stay healthy? And two, can he produce at the level he was producing at in 2018? No one's going to take a guy on for $30 million that's batting .240 with 3 home runs and a handful of RBIs. Let's be honest. I mean,
true, but if you eat some of that contract, people will take Hicks all day long.
Maybe if you eat half of it. I mean, there's a possibility you could move him, but again, you need a willing trade partner. So that's
if you're not asking for a whole lot back for it, like you ask for low level, lottery tickets back. Yeah. I think it's the way to go. But I think now we got to move on to our polls. And speaking of the polls, we'd like to thank our Lids for sponsoring this segment. Please check out our link tree and the codes online in our link tree for this, which is linktree/Bronx Muchachos, the real Bronx Muchachos. And on our link tree, you can check out all of our other sponsors that we have for our show.
To include Walmart and Southwest and Hilton. So check out the links. Good stuff.
Yes, thank you, Dave. I forgot. We're adding a bunch. We've been adding a bunch on, so I don't know all the ones we have offhand.
I'm here for you.
I appreciate that.
So
as Dave's looking up the polls,
Florial in AAA. He has an 863 OPS, 29 stolen bases, only caught 7 times. The Ks are still there, 100 Ks and 341 play appearances, so 29%, which is above league average at AAA. But 12 homers, 34 RBIs, 24 doubles. I like that. I like that doubles number right there because those doubles will turn to homers eventually. Yeah. So, and he's only 24 years old. Why not give him a shot?
He's had some injury risk in his past, but I think he's begun putting it together.
He's a base stealing machine. The last time I checked, he had 27 stolen bases.
Yeah, 29 and seven caught stealing.
Yeah. So the first poll was, will there be an international draft? Well, we all got the sad news about that the other day. They couldn't pull it through, but 57% were optimistic and saying yes, and 43% were saying no, with 35 votes contributing to that. So draft pick compensation is still on the table going into this year's offseason.
Going forward for the rest of the offseason, unless they decide to talk about it again, but.
And then this one was from 2 days ago. How will the Subway Series go? Yankees sweep, 36% saying that. Series split, 60% Mets sweep, 4%. For once, the minority was right at 4%. We got swept. Boo. Here we go. Who should be the top priority at the trade deadline? 72% saying Luis Castillo, 0% saying Pablo Lopez, 0% saying Frankie Montas, 28% saying Juan Soto with 25 votes contributing. It's going to be interesting the way this one shakes out. Who knows? Maybe Hal and Brian pull a rabbit out of the hat and get both.
All right.
Do I think it's going to happen? No, but
hey, anything? Let's go around the horn. We got four names here. Alex, Castillo, Montez, Soto, or Pablo Lopez. Who's the top priority?
Number 1, Soto. Castillo. Number 2, Soto. Everybody else, I don't care.
James.
I would say, of those, I would go with Castillo because I just think the starting pitches we need more than we have enough offense. So I would go with Castillo.
Danny, do I even have to ask you?
No.
That's a Castillo vote right there. Dave, what about you, brother?
I'm going to say Castillo going first, but I think if Castillo falls through, I think they might go out to Pablo Lopez, given the fact that starting pitching is pretty much their Achilles heel right now. I don't see us going through the trade deadline without acquiring a starting pitcher, regardless of where it comes from.
They would if they don't get Castillo, they're gonna even if they get Castillo, they probably will still try to do what they can do to get Soto. And you know what? I would rather have Soto because you know what? His presence in the box is enormous because you know what? His swagger, what he comes up there, the way he just like gets his stance it there and just gets into the pitcher's mind. You know what? I would want a guy like that because that could actually help motivate the team and also break a pitcher that is kicking our butt.
I get that, but you're also dealing with a 5-day time constraint too. You can't sit around and wait forever if the Nationals are going to play hardball. You just eventually, if it's not working out, you're just going to move on to the next thing.
Don't worry. Guess what? Monday, Tuesday are going to be crazy days. That's what's going to happen. Facts. Okay? It's like, who knows? This weekend coming up, we might be hearing the craziest thing going on. We're going to be like, what the?
This weekend's going to be ridiculous.
We're going to pick up our phones, look at Twitter, be like, what?
We might be doing a 24-hour podcast at that point.
I don't know what you smoking, man. I got a life to live. Sorry, sir.
I was obviously kidding.
Man, you could do a 24-hour pod.
No, he's not. We'll live stream for 24 hours.
He's gonna go on the Twitter space and make sure that the 24-hour Twitter space and everything like that. Yeah. He'll be like, This is Dave. I'm here live.
That's all we had for this week. Just 3 of them. So that's it.
All right.
One other thing I gotta give a shout out to some of my home state people. So with the MLB draft happening this year, 4 Rhode Islanders got drafted this year. So congratulations to Dominic Parachi from Salve Regina University in Newport. Got drafted by.
It must be nice being from a state so small that you guys know everybody.
Oh.
Because got drafted by the Pirates, 320th overall, and then got Ben Broody he was the Gatorade Rhode Island Baseball Player of the Year, drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, 333rd overall, and then you have Tucker Flint, center fielder from Bishop Hendricken High School in Warwick, Rhode Island, 388th overall to the Los Angeles Angels.
Thank you, everyone in Florida and in New York that made it in.
And the headliner was Ben Sears from the University of Houston, who also pitched at the Community College of Rhode Island from East Providence, getting drafted 415th overall by the Kansas City Royals. So congratulations to the 4 of you guys on moving baseball in Rhode Island to the forefront. So congrats to all you guys.
Well, Family Guy takes place in Rhode Island, so you got that going.
This is true. Yeah, I actually had someone ask me if Quahog was a real place. I just looked at him like, "Are you serious right now? Like, you know this is fake, right?" He goes, "It is." I was like,
the correct answer is ask Google.
Oh God!
Just ask Google.
And then like a stuffed clam with bacon or something.
But all kidding aside, congratulations to all those great individuals that Dave say.
Yeah. So. Actually, my cousin Bobby actually helps run a baseball training facility in Rhode Island and knows a few of these guys. So for him, it's like watching the kids grow up and finally move on and master their craft. So he's actually had a hand in training some of these guys that actually got drafted this year. So he's been very proud of what they've accomplished. So good for him.
Mark.
wakey.
Wake up, boss.
No. I'm still here. I was reading something that the Mets made a deal, but I was trying to see who it was for. So
wait, they made a deal? What?
Did we trade him? Did we give him Joey Gallo?
I don't know. They made a deal with the Reds, but nothing wild and crazy. So I was trying to read. I was trying to read on Twitter what the deal was. I can't find it.
Maybe they got Brennan Drury.
Maybe. Who knows? But James, tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, sure. So you go on YouTube, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, it pop up. If you're living in the Bronx and you're an Optimum subscriber, it's Optimum 68 every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And if you're a Fios person, it's 3124. And also this season, I started off a new audio podcast. It's just something just so I could do more content during the week. So wherever you get your podcasts, and Apple, iHeartRadio, whatever, just type in Section 420 Talkin Yankees and boom, catch me there. And that's exclusive content I put up that's only for podcast subscribers. So it's kind of a mixed bag of stuff. Just something I introduced this season just so I could, just have some more updates. Because video, as you guys know, it's tougher to do that and record and edit all that jazz. So kind of limits me a little bit. So now I could do more updates just during the week.
Definitely, man. Everyone give him a shout, give him a listen, give him a watch. James, thank you very much for joining us today. You've always been a good friend of ours, and keep up all the good work you're doing, my friend.
All right, pleasure having you on. Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll butt heads again sometime in the future.
Well, hopefully not butt heads too much.
Let's go Rams. Let's go Rams.
Fordham Rams, exactly. Fordham Rams.
Exactly. Dave, why don't you sign us out with your lovely speech?
So, to everybody listening to us across the pond in all the European countries, here at home and abroad, Canada, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, France, Brazil, Spain, Mexico, the Bahamas, Australia. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thanks for listening to us every week, babble and talk about baseball. James, thanks for coming on with us. I know it was a while getting this orchestrated, but you were one of the first ones to help us get a name out there and get recognized. So we very much appreciate you for that. And it took 30 some odd weeks to reconnect, but thanks for always supporting us and what we do and coming from where we were to where we are now. We appreciate it. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Podcast Republic, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. Drop us a 5-star review. If you got some questions you want answered during the week or whatever, hit us up there. Drop us a DM on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We've got the Bronx Muchachos Mafia. That's 389 strong now. That's just growing every single day. We got a great game day chat that gets a little wild sometimes, but not too wild. Thank you to 5 Reasons, to Ethan Skolnick and Jeff Fasaro for giving us this amazing opportunity to reach more people and get more of a reach with our baseball content. And that's it. That's all we got this week. Be sure to give us a follow, give James a follow, and we'll see you next week.
Go Joey Gallo.
No. Bye, everybody.